All right, so the question that we're addressing in this bulletin on News Today at 9 p.m. Well, as there has been a crash where Adani Enterprises is concerned, is public money at risk, and the opposition continues to demand a JPC. Is it legitimate? Priyanka Chaturvedi, Shiv Sena, the UBT faction joins us. Supriya Shrinate, Congress spokesperson. Manisha Priyam, political analyst. In a short while from now, we'll also be joined by our Ashwin Parekh, Managing Partner, Ashwin Parekh Advisory Services. However, also joining me right now is Ashwini Mahajan, National Co-Convener, Swadeshi Jagran Manch. Supriya Shrinate, I'd like to begin with you. You're asking for a JPC when already the SEBI, stepped in. On the other hand, the RBI issued a statement already asking for a JPC. Do you see this as a pragmatic approach? It's a matter that maybe SEBI should look at. The RBI has already made it clear. The LIC has already given out a statement.
More than pragmatic, that is exactly what needs to be done. There is public sector money, there is people's money, there is taxpayers' money which has been pushed into toxic asset by LIC and the state-owned banks. And questions need to be asked and answered. And let me also go a step further, Preeti, and tell you that indices and global financial institutions across the 7 seas are acting on it. If you have read the S&P and Dow's statement pushing out Adani Enterprises overnight from, their sustainability index, they say that there are very grave charges. They are reacting to the seriousness of the allegations. But our own regulators, our own government, our own agencies have adopted an ostrich-like approach. I mean, what is LIC's statement? I want to ask you. There's a very simple terminology in the world of finance. It's called mark-to-market. There's a time value of rupee. If you invest 100 rupees 10 years back in a stock, and 5 years later that money gets to 1,000, but 5 years after that, at the end of 10 years, becomes 200, you are not going to celebrate that your money became from 100 to 200. You are going to be worried about how the 1,000 became 200. And that is the question that needs to be asked of the LIC. It is hard-earned money of 30 crore policy holders that they have put in Adani. I mean, are you telling me that one report alone has crashed the stock? No. The fundamentals are weak. The stock is overvalued 82 times. There is round tripping that has happened. There is a web of shell companies.
But Supriya Shrinate, before this particular...
Preeti, just one more point.
Make your point.
Just let me finish one more point. SEBI, the finance minister told the Lok Sabha MP, Ms. Mahua Moitra, in Lok Sabha, that SEBI has started an investigation in July 2021. 18 months still. What has that investigation resulted in? Not a squeak from the government of India when Joe Johnson, Boris Johnson's brother, the director of Elara Capital, had to resign. Dow Jones is taking action, pushing Adani out, and we are behaving as if nothing has happened. Who is answerable to the retail investors? 15 lakh crores has been lost in India's capital markets, and 5 lakh crore of that money is lost by people who have nothing to do with Adani. They never invested in Adani shares.
But Supriya Shrinate, as I bring in our other guests, Supriya Shrinate,
who's answerable to LIC?
You say it's not just one report. There were so many market analysts, but before the report, why is it that they were not seeing what Hindenburg is seeing? Moreover, the whole talk of possibly a hit job, of Hindenburg making these allegations exactly 2 days before the opening of the FPO on January 27th.
I am not someone who's given into policy, on this conspiracy theories. I've covered stock markets, I've covered corporates for about 20-22 years, and let me tell you, there can be no hit job on a company whose fundamentals are strong. No corporate gets out and tells the world all is well, if really all is well. Nassim Taleb, one of the biggest investors in the world, who's had nothing to do with Adani, has put out a statement saying that when all is well, you don't come across and say that. Quite frankly, the leading monopoly that Mr. Adani has created in airports, ports, food and agriculture, renewable energy, cement.
Okay.
And please remember, Mr. Adani has 10 listed entities in India. He's supposed to list 5 more, all of them intrinsic to the Indian economy. And not a word being spoken on that. Can the economy and investors of LIC, SBI and retail investors in the market go down with Mr. Adani? Is that what the government wants?
But LIC has made it very clear, so has the RBI. But okay, I'm going to come right back to it. I'll also bring in Priyanka Chaturvedi. But before that, Ashwini
What
Mahajan...
has LIC made clear? LIC should be put in the dock and ask this question.
All right,
LIC
okay.
has
One second. Okay, so Let me allow... Ms. Srinate, allow me to open up the panel. Ma'am, allow me to open up the panel. Ashwini Mahajan, the fact is, why is it that the Bharatiya Janata Party is refusing, or the government refusing to actually address the question? The demand of the JPC in Parliament separate, but the sheer fact that today in this debate there is not even a representative of the Bharatiya Janata Party or the government to take any questions. Why the silence?
See, I am no one to talk about what Bharatiya Janata Party is doing or what the Congress is saying. Basically, we must understand that this Hindenburg is a short seller, and they are into the business of the short selling. And the one whose business depends upon the downgrading the shares, reducing the prices of the shares, and then gaining out of it. I fail to understand why wise people are taking these allegations so seriously and making all sorts of things. My friend on the panel, she had also said that Adani has been making assets. You see, she was saying that she is into, the Adani is into airports, it's into so many other things. So what is being done is that more and more assets are being created. We are into in airports. In such a short span of time, more and more airports were constructed, and that is a real asset.
But what does it take? How does that take away from what the current
idea about economy? What is he talking about?
One second. No, sir. No, ma'am, please.
What is he talking about?
Mr. Mahajan, how does that take away with the current context of what is taking place right now? What's happening?
That is exactly what I'm saying. Nobody raised questions on those who were burning cash, and investors have lost a lot of money. 70% of the money was lost in Paytm. Approximately 40 to 70% in about tens of companies. Nobody was talking about the overvaluation. So what I'm trying to please tell your panelists not to question the and the way the things are said. It is not in the right way. So what I'm saying is that the
point out one thing that I said wrong.
Adani is not burning cash.
Point out one thing that I said wrong.
Okay, no, one second. Let's not heckle. Okay, sir. Okay, the fact is the context. I'm still trying to figure out the context of what you just said. But having said that, I'll come right back. Okay, I want to just bring in Priyanka Chaturvedi into this conversation. Priyanka Chaturvedi, the fact is you, Supriya Srinate, the TMC, you've been demanding a JPC. Many would suggest holding the house to ransom. On the other hand, trying to pin the blame of what's happening with the Adani enterprise on the government and Prime Minister Modi. But the fact is the SEBI has stepped in, put Adani Group on the watch list. On the other hand, the likes of LIC have said that they are financially secure where public money is concerned. Even RBI issued a statement 2 hours back. Nirmala Sitharaman herself has stepped in assuring investors. So has the Financial Secretary.
That would be a very unfortunate conclusion without even investigation. SEBI has stepped in after immense pressure, but let me also remind you, in 2021, they initiated an investigation. A report till now, 1.5 years later, we do not have. We do not know what happened to it. So that is part one. Part two, about RBI stepping in to check exposure of various national banks. The report suggests that 30% of their loan component that Adani has comes from public banks. 10% is private banks. These 30% public banks have small investors, money invested in them, and they were being used to pump up an FPO, which was a non-starter from day one. So challenge is, nobody would want wealth erosion to happen. Nobody would want that a group does not function well. a job creator should go down. But we would want transparency and compliance. And it also talks about investor confidence and global confidence in India's economy. So we cannot at any point make them believe that there are some checks and balances not being adhered to. That is all.
Manisha, Priyam, as much as the story is about business and an economic story, it's as political when you come down to it. We've seen it over the course of the last couple of elections. Let's say the Congress, if Rahul Gandhi has been picking up something, it has been Do Udyogpati, Adani, Ambani ki sarkar. Do you think politically the opposition would be able to milk it? But having said that, even the opposition, you know, Supriya Shrinate might not agree, but Rajasthan, you had Mr. Gehlot who skirted the question of Adani today because Adani has interests in Rajasthan. Similarly, Chhattisgarh. Even if a West Bengal chief minister is coming out, she's not really attacking Adani because there are business interests there, but attacking the Prime Minister instead.
So, you know, since you've asked me the political question, let me tell you that I am answering this from the point of view of people and their perspectives on politics. Remember, quite a few things have happened that do lead to citizen interests being requiring protection. First of all, what happened? That high net worth individuals, remember the ordinary investor in the, who buys the LIC policies or who has holdings with the SBI, does not understand what an FPO is or why high net worth individuals have to come in to buy shares when it is expected that ordinary people are not going to lap it all up. And what happened? That the very next day that the high net worth individuals had bought all of this. So this is a step away from whatever Hindenburg is doing or not doing. You know, that man sitting in Dhanbad or sitting in Dharuheda or sitting somewhere on a Mangalore highway who might be holding the LIC money or paying the money, subscribing to an LIC policy, doesn't understand either Hindenburg or the FPO. What that man or woman has understood is that something happened, high net worth individuals had to bail out a particular large business group which they had seen rising, even if they put their trust him making airports or whatever, and suddenly next day you find that high net worth individuals buying also, the whole FPO has had to be scrapped. So certainly the citizen interest is that of trust having been eroded. Whether there has been round tripping or not, whatever has happened, there is need for greater probing, and asking for a JPC does not mean insulting anyone. And certainly nobody is blaming that, this politician's interest is wedded to that businessman's interest. That is not the, question that the citizen is asking. But the citizen wants certain answers. Even when demonetization had happened, even if it may have been procedurally correct, demonetization was stopped ahead of time. Citizens were left with 40,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees which they couldn't encash, even though they couldn't get to the banks. Do they go to the Supreme Court to ask how to do this or what to do about this? So certainly the Parliament is correct in asking for a JPC. The people, the members of Parliament are the links between ordinary citizens and these type of hi-fi policies which people have, done no wrong when it went up to 1,000 rupees. Why it should go down? Why can people not ask this question? That something that was 1,000 rupees can fall to 200 rupees. Someone needs to explain this. And who better than their own representatives who they hold accountable every 5 years. So if there is wrong propaganda being done, people will hold them accountable. But at this point of time, people need to be explained as to who are these high net worth, is India in the hands of high net worth individuals? That when a big financial offering will be made on the stock market, which is the arena of democracy for the markets, high net worth individuals will have to pitch in, or are ordinary people the subscribers even of the market? So I think there are many questions. Why did everybody sit on a conference table and decide all together? Businessmen are rivals of each other. So people today do not understand why rivals should all collaborate and say, no, okay, let's subscribe to this high net worth thing. But then one high net worth then next day says, no, it's all wrong and I'm going to pull out of all this. So it's not just Hindenburg. Today we don't understand what's going on, and when citizens don't understand, they are likely to speculate. One of the best ways to allay fears and to restore confidence will actually be to have a JPC on the table. Let everybody take out political slogans or take political stands. It is the citizens' money at stake. Questions need to be asked, and the more open debates there will be, the more probity that will be shown, the more confidence will be restored in the Indian markets and in the Indian democracy.
Ashwini Mahajan, the fact is, why the hesitation for a JPC? Why absolute silence from the government?
I have already told you that I'm no representative of any political party. Basically, my question is that Hindenburg is in the business of short selling, and they are restricted even in their own country. In US, they cannot they cannot publish a report against on any company. In India itself, in July 2022, a small company, Abix, they filed a complaint in the 30,000 court that this Hindenburg has wrongly and mischievously has published report against them, and then that court stopped Hindenburg and told them to take down their tweets. Google was told to take down whatever was published on Google. So you can understand the history of Hindenburg. They are into the business, and we are.
But it's not about Hindenburg anymore, is it, Mr. Mahajan? It's not about Hindenburg anymore. And the connection, when I talk to you about, Adani's become practically the poster child for his administration use of private capital to boost infrastructure and domestic manufacturing. So questions will be asked.
And he is so far not.
Can I please raise a small point?
There is no default. There is no default from this company. But I'm not trying to say anything on Adani. But I'm trying to simply.
Can I please make a small point?
Put a small question that when a company is itself doubtful, and an agency is itself doubtful, and then somebody is saying that okay, it is an attack on India. I also.
Can I please make a
But on this whole attack of India, so I don't quite get it. But I'll take that question. I'll take that question to Supriya Shrinate. Supriya Shrinate, the fact is, Hindenburg particularly holds short positions in the Adani group. Conflict of interest there. And why should the opposition pander to a foreign entity? We didn't see the kind of uproar before that. We didn't see, our own Indian stock market analysts actually raise red flags before.
Preeti, I am actually dumbfounded because Mr. Mahajan, who seems to hold a brief for Adani here, doesn't understand economy or finance 101. I'm sorry to say that. Is Hindenburg the only one short selling? Does Hindenburg hold equities worth 10 lakh crore of Adani that they have been selling in the last 10 days? 15 lakh crore worth of market capital from the Indian bourses has been eroded. 5 lakh crore of that money has nothing to do with Adani. Who is going to safeguard the retail investors? Who is going to protect the money of LIC policy holders? Who is going to protect the SBI shareholders, which is a government bank? Why are we not talking about that? Why are you obsessed with Hindenburg? To hell with them. Here is a company, and please, I think the reason why this is political and the reason why we are asking for a JPC is because Mr. Adani kept tom-tomming his closeness. And Mr. Modi did as well. He used Adani's aircraft all through being the chief minister or the prime minister. He mounted his campaign on that. Everybody knows their closeness. Everybody knows how Mr. Adani came from the 780th position in the world of richest people to number 2 because of the leading monopolies that he built with government patronage. Everybody knows how assets in IBC were shunted out, promoters were shunted out to hand over to Adani. How did GVK shunt out of the Bombay airport? Can anybody tell me here? I mean, let's not hold brief of people who we have no idea about. That's all that
Supriya Shrinate, the kind of investment that Adani has in Congress-run states, the kind of investment that Adani has in Congress-run states itself then.
Very good point. I want to answer that question.
No, I'll come back. Quickly make your point, ma'am. I want to introduce Ashwini Parekh into this conversation as well. Quickly make your point.
Absolutely. I want to answer that question. We are not against business. We are not against Mr. Adani either. Let there be a fair tendering process and let Mr. Adani enter, and that's what happened in Rajasthan. I have nothing personal against Mr. Adani if there is a fair tendering process and if there is a level playing field. We are all for Mr. Adani, but in state after state, ruled by the BJP and at the behest of the Prime Minister.
Don't
There
come
is
here.
no level playing field.
How
Ask
can
one
you
person
allow,
in corporate India,
how can
shut
you
off
allow
your camera,
panelists to
they'll tell you a very
talk
different
personal
story.
about anybody? How can you allow these panelists to talk about personal?
Sir, what did she say? Please come again.
What sort of a point are you
No,
making?
1 second.
What,
Mrs. Trinate.
what personal did I make? What did I say personal?
What?
He
don't
doesn't know. He doesn't know about
What
anything.
personal?
She knows everything. She
Okay,
knows everything.
Please grow up.
Okay,
This is
listen,
too
1
much.
second. Okay, let's not get into
Because
personal
you're talking
attacks.
about
Once again,
short selling
please,
by
let's not.
There is short selling happening all across.
Please,
Yes,
1
but
second,
that's
let's
any
not get into
Dropping
personal
that stock
attacks.
like a hot
Okay,
potato, you
sir,
really don't know
sir,
how
1
stock
second, 1
markets
second.
operate.
1 second. Sir, if you take offense, I apologize because I'm holding this debate. I apologize
Please.
on the part of Ms. Renate. Mr. Mahajan, if you've taken it personally, I apologize, sir. I'll let it be at that. I want to cut across before we lose him, and I think we have. Do we have Mr. Ashwin Parakh? Okay, we're going to try and connect back to Mr. Ashwin Parakh there. But Manisha Priyam, I'll bring you in all of this. Do you think from here on, because it's an election year, it's a big year, 2023, will the opposition, for somebody as a political analyst, be able to pin, what is going down with the Adani enterprise on the shoulders of the government as its own inadequacy and failing? Do you think it would be possible?
No, I mean, it will take time. It's not so easy to just say that, this is because of the government. This is definitely at this point of time, Mr. Adani. And, if the opposition wants to take it to the home and say that this is something that the government is responsible for, they will have to join the dots also. The JPC, for example, will be a great weapon both for the government and for the opposition. And what is required is greater probity. Now, the most important point at this point of time is we cannot dismiss this by saying that this is not the Hindenburg moment of the Indian stock market. This is the Adani moment of the Indian stock market. The issue about what is it that went on because of which high net worth individuals step in to buy.
But Ms. Prem, the opposition is trying to make this more about Mr. Modi and less about Mr. Adani and his enterprise.
So what should the opposition do? No. That you cannot say. At this point of time, the opposition cannot be told that don't make it about this one or that one. The opposition will have a political weapon with which they will ask questions, but the fact is that between this politicking, the citizens tend to benefit. I want to know just one thing. When is it that high net worth individuals bailed out an issue of this proportion last time in the stock market? Hindenburg was not buying it, in the Indian stock market. It was the high net worth individuals who were operating here. What happened? That the next day this had to be withdrawn. So I think these are issues that are weighing very heavy on the minds of the citizens. Citizens don't understand the ways in which they can stand to lose. Overnight their assets can be wiped out. These are genuine worries. Remember, we are a country which is still an aspiring nation. All of us are not high net worth individuals. We've taken an entire lifetime to have small savings put in the State Bank of India or in the LIC. A lot of us retire at the age of 60 or 65 and then only have these assets to look forward to in life and in death. So at this point of time, I know that there should be no panic. RBI has stepped in, SEBI has stepped in, Finance Ministry has stepped in, but why not the Parliament step in? These are all our chosen representatives. It's not as if the government is the authorized representative.
While we wait for
and
Mr.
the opposition parties are illegal representatives.
Mr. Mahajan, I'll bring you in. Where the concerns, where we are talking about public money at risk is concerned, and I'll bring you in. In terms of exposure to the Adani Group, the SBI stands at 27,000 crore, sir. The LIC at 36,000, nearly 500 crore. The PNB at 7,000 crore. So if you do look at these numbers, one would worry. Mr. Mahajan, the question's for you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm equally worried. But the issue at hand is that if such kind of allegations are allowed, and if you allow these things, that next time they will have short selling in Ambani's shares, and then they will have short selling in Tata's shares, and things will go on. So the issue is that we must understand what are the allegations, and these allegations must be looked into. And therefore, it is not about this thing. And Parliament Indian institutions and Indian law, in legal agencies, everybody must look into this. I'm not saying anything against it. What I'm saying is that this is an issue of the national interest, and if these things, when a company which is not allowed to publish reports in US, they were not allowed to continue their publication of report in India when that issue came with ABEX. What I'm asking is that these kinds of allegations have to be looked into, but not that before looking into the allegations we can say that Adani is bad, the Indian growth story is no longer there. What I'm saying is that these issues must be looked into, and all the institutions, and we have a robust legal system, robust institutions, and we must have faith in them. That's all.
All right, okay, closing comments, so Prashant.
So exactly the point I have been making. I think the credibility of RBI, SEBI, SFIO, ROC, ED, I think all their credibility is at stake. They are globally renowned institutions. They have kept us in good stead. They should not be held back from launching a full probe into this Adani mess, because this is getting India disrepute. We've never had a group or a company.
But Mr. Nir, it's already, the Adani enterprise is already on the watch list of the SEBI. The RBI has come in and tried to allay fears today.
Is that enough? Do you think that's enough? This is the 10th day of the carnage. You really think that's enough? There was a complaint about round tripping and shell companies in July 2021. Where is that report? You think all of this is enough? What fundamentals have loans been given on? Is that enough? What the RBI wants exposure on? I mean, let's get real.
All right, okay, with that,
This is a full-blown.
Okay, I'm sure it's not the last that we're going to be hearing of it, especially where Parliament is concerned. All right, okay. I appreciate all of you for joining us. We seem to have lost Mr. Parekh, but that's all the time that we have for now. Trust India Today to get you the latest as it develops. Right now, with what we are looking at, 4 of the stocks of the Adani enterprise has actually closed in the green. Well, does one swallow make a summer? Many would say we need to wait and watch when it comes down to recovery or Adani enterprise, the worst of it being over. Trust us to keep you updated. Thank you, all of you, for joining us.